Today I'm building this wooden mallet from scratch. I'll take you through the entire process step by step, so let's get started.
I'm going to use this template that I got, cut out the dimensions. I'm just going to set it here. I'm going to cut it a little bigger than I need it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to double up. I'm going to make this a big mallet. I'm going to mark those two, cut them down. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to use this Wingate for the side pieces on the head. I'm going to mark these out. I'll need two of these as well. I'm going to cut a couple pieces of these out now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get I have some cherry here. I was going to use some maple. I don't have enough maple to cut this out to do this. So I'm going to use cherry. And I'm going to make a real thin piece of cherry to put in between the two pieces of walnut. So you have the stripe down the middle of cherry. I need another one I need something this size out of the cherry. So I'm going to cut the cherry out right now. So it's going to be a pretty big mallet. You figure you're going to put this on here and this one on here. So that's going to be a nice size mallet. I'm going to resaw it down so that way it's just a stripe in the middle instead of taking over the whole walnut piece. All right, so I'm going to use these setup blocks that I made on my 3D printer to cut down the size that I need on this bandsaw. Still haven't really decided what size I'm going to do, but this is just how great this. I have a bamboo PS1 3D printer, and all of this stuff I printed on it, including the case, and it just snaps together. These little clips on here printed with it too. Everything printed on this thing, and the words. Like I put in what words and what color, and it printed it on there. And then I got all these things. So, and they're marked 3/4 inch, 23 32, 9/16. So I think what I'm going to do is probably do a 1/4 inch and maybe 5/16. That gives me some playroom to, when I sand it down and everything, it doesn't turn out too small. I'm going to use my Laguna V10 bandsaw that I got from Rockler, put a resaw blade on it, and now we're going to test it out. Get my setup block out, loosen this up. And again, this doesn't have to be exact either. There's no exact measurements on this build I'm doing. So this is the cherry piece we're going to do. I don't normally use my planer inside like this right here. I usually put it by the big roll-up door, so all the crap flies out of here. But I don't feel like bending down, and this is a real small piece, and I don't want to have to keep going back and forth. So I'm going to put it up here. I'm just going to have a mess I got to clean up, but let's go with it. There we go. So we got a nice little inlay of the cherry in between the walnut, and that'll be throughout the whole mallet. And then we're gonna have the wingay on the end. Kind of hard to picture, but we're gonna do it. Okay, so now I'm gonna glue these 3 pieces together. I'm gonna get plenty of glue in here. Bad part about doing it this way is I'm gluing up a lot that I'm gonna cut off, because the handle is gonna be cut off of this. But I think in the long run, it's gonna be easier instead of trying to cut them all and then glue them together that way. I think that'll be a mess, honestly. Probably a little bit more glue than I needed there, but I'd rather have more than less. Some clamps here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because they're all a little oversized, but kind of want to get it as close as you can, just to keep it from being too far off when it's time. All right, well, there's really nothing else we can do right now until those are dried up. So I'm just going to let these sit for now. So again, kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. I'm pretty sure everybody can figure it out, but the part I'm gluing up now is going to be cut out to meet this shape. Once that's done glued up, I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to get on the bandsaw, cut it out, and then I'm going to put this in here like this. So that part in the middle here, flush with the bottom here. 94% on my generator here, so I'll be able to work out here all day long and then some. Okay, so we're back in here today and our glue up is done. So I'm going to take these clamps off real quick and see what we come up with. All right, so this is what we're left with here. Now we're gonna use a template, draw it out, and get it cut up. All right, so we have the basic shape formed out here. This is gonna be a big ass handle, so I'm gonna round these over, obviously. Now, gotta put the ears on, the cheeks. Big thing with this is just to make sure that it's flush with the bottom, so you don't have to mess with the bottom too much after you put it on there. The side should be a little bit over, so you can cut it down. So these are going to go on the sides here like this. Now you get more of an idea of what we're looking at here. Mr. Bain came out to help check out the shop today, make sure I'm doing my job. He comes in every once in a while and checks on me, make sure that I'm not screwing off. Honestly, I think this is the hardest part of the whole dang deal. So you got to put glue on both of these, fit them in here, clamp them, but you want to get it as close to the bottom as you can because it's really hard to get in there and sand once it's there and cut it and everything. So we're going to do our best. Again, probably way too much glue. Just more to clean up afterwards. It's easier to clean up extra glue than it is to try to figure out how to get more glue in there once it's dry, because it ain't happening. I put these on here. That way I can put this thing in the middle and rest it. And then I know that this is basically there. So we're gonna throw some glue down on this side. So if you just make sure that this is pulled down as much as you can, so are these blocks. It's kind of at an angle. Only one side's going to get down to the end. Move it out a little bit. I can get it down there more. Sorry. Nope, not like that either. Like this. Want to make sure you got a little bit hanging out on each corner. Try to get it as flush as you can on the bottom. Nice and tight. And you honestly don't even need to worry about the glue run out because I'm going to cut this part off anyway when we shape the top. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to let it sit overnight because I got a bunch of stuff to do today. And I would rather wait longer than I need to than not long enough. So we'll get back at this tomorrow or maybe even later this evening, depending on what I got going on. And we'll see how the glue held up. Then we'll start shaping it. Okay, now we're going to do some sanding, our favorite stuff. This is all glued together. Kind of sketched a little, some grooves on there so I don't lose place of where I want to put these things. I'm going to make it so a little bit handle. So that'll be fun. All right, nice little grooves in there. I like that around the top there. Obviously, I can't do it at the bottom. Can't put this down. I don't know. I'm going to sand this real good on the sides here and get rid of that glue. Sand up the edges and see what it looks like. If I feel like doing it the other way and having it on the bottom edges here, I might. But I don't know. I'll let you know. So there's sanded up to 150. I'm going to do some little hand sanding in here, smooth up the edges around here. All right, get out my little duster. All right, we're nice and sanded down now to 220, up to 220, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now we're gonna finish sanding this thing. I water popped it or sprayed it with water and brought out the grain. Now I'm gonna throw some 320 on there and get it nice and smooth. Then I'll finish it up. This thing's gonna be great. Again, handle's nice and thick. Head's pretty heavy with as much wood as we got going on in here. I love the continuous line all the way through. It's awesome. Let me get the Otis oil out. This is the Otis oil I'm using. It's just the universal finish polish Otis oil. It's the basic one. It's a little expensive, but I love the way stuff turns out when I use it. So I went ahead and, I mean, you use very little of it on most of the projects, so it lasts a long time. Goes on super simple. I just find some scrap wood. This is probably bigger than I needed, but I didn't want to keep looking for stuff. And I use like a white Scotch-Brite pad, I think is what they're called. So again, very little here. I probably use more than you should use, or you're required to use. But just rub it on, spread it out the best you can. And a lot of times I'll just dip it in and get some more. This is a one-time, one-coat application type thing. Once this is on there, since it's an oil and a wax, it soaks into the grain really good and it hardens. And once it's cured, it takes about 7-10 days to cure. It is good to go. That doesn't mean you can't put more than one coat on here. It might make it look a little darker, maybe look a little richer. But I think I paid $60 for this bottle that I have here. So if I don't have to use 2 coats, I'm not going to use 2 coats. I usually just put a little thicker on at the beginning. And once it sits, we'll have it sit for 20-30 minutes, depending. You come out and wipe it down, you're good. You can see the Wingate on the outside, super dark, the walnut on each side, and then the cherry. And that cherry is going to darken up a little bit over time. Right now, it looks great coming right down the middle here. And I think it'll just get better from here, honestly. All right, so here's the finished product. Man, that looks fun. So I will compare this to some other ones I made. This is the last one I made. It's a maple and walnut. So as you can see, handle is quite a bit bigger. The head is quite a bit bigger. You can see I took a notch out of this one. The other one I have here is Wingate for the main part and the handle, and then that's Purple Heart. And then this one here is, I believe this one is Oak and Paduke. This one is quite a bit lighter. All right, well, that's my mallet build. Hopefully it gave you some new ideas. It's another way to make one other than the traditional way. I think it turned out great. This thing is massive. All right, well, hopefully you like the video. If you like and subscribe and share the video around, maybe I'll get on this next mallet challenge. Hopefully I'll get some more builds out and make some more videos. Hopefully you got something out of this video, gave you some ideas, some different things that you can do. I appreciate you making it all the way to the end of the video. If you did, I know YouTube loves it when you make it all the way to the end of the video. So do I. There'll be links in the description to all the tools that I used to build these mallets. Keep an eye out for some lives. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so you can be notified. Hit that notification bell so you know when the lives are coming and when more videos are coming. Thanks again.